Hello and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. I'm Elaine Stenson and today I'm joined by Francois Nordhof from BCP Bank to discuss the proposed EU-US free trade deal. Francois, David Cameron has said that this free trade deal could potentially turbocharge the transatlantic economy. Would you agree with this?
Well, I would say, yeah, I share completely his opinion. I mean, clearly investors are currently underestimating the impact of these types of negotiation. It's going also to be a big help for the integration of the European Union, as most members of the European Union are extremely reluctant to give up some privilege or some specific relative strengths that they have currently in the current environment, and therefore this is probably also going to accelerate the European integration from existing members but also from new members who are going to join the European Union.
So can you tell me some details about the agreement? What would it mean for an individual company who trades, who does transatlantic trades?
Indeed, this the most important objective that want to be reached with this agreement are in fact at first fiscal issues. Roughly on 800 billions of trade which are made over the Atlantic are taxed between 3 and 4%, which is a huge amount when you compare it to 800 billion of trades volume annually done between the two regions. Also, it's impacting 800 million of people on both sides of the oceans. I mean, the European population is above 400 million and the USA is above 300 million. So you see that the importance of the people involved in the negotiation. Also, there are not only fiscal issues but also non-fiscal issues such as internal rules and regulations which are restricting currently trades, and then also there are some prohibitions which need to be abolished by these types of agreement. If you take, for instance, just the issue of duck liver in California, which prohibit to sell, indeed you will not be able to maintain these types of prohibitions. You cannot force a consumer to buy duck liver. Indeed, you cannot force them, but you can not prohibit a French duck liver producer to sell its products within the United States. These are the types of advantages of this trade agreement. Also, what we can see is that some public tender offering are restricted to foreign companies. This also is going to be abolished. This is extremely important, for instance, for the defense industry, where you had some privilege of local manufacturer having their own private domestic market protected from external competitions.
Okay, so you mentioned the defense industry there. What industries do you think could benefit the most from the agreement, and what industries could it potentially affect in a negative way?
Yeah, I mean, probably for the big developed European countries, the most benefiting industries are going to be the chemical industry, mainly France and Germany, but also the pharmaceutical industry. And here in Europe, I think of the British, but also of the Scandinavian industry, pharmaceutical industry, which is going to benefit. I mean, have a look, for instance, just for the time being, when you compare just Switzerland and the European Union. Switzerland is not a member of the European Union. You pay for all your drugs a premium compared to the European Union. Okay. It's exactly the same that is going to happen between the European Union and the States. If a product is authorized in the States, then it will automatically be accepted and authorized for distribution within the European Union. This is going to be able to save a lot of unnecessary costs.
Okay, and you did mention France there, and we know France are not completely in favour of this agreement. Can you explain a bit about what's been called the French resistance?
Yeah, France has two issues actually with the transatlantic trade and investments partnerships agreement. They have at first a cultural exception. They want to exclude from the negotiation the audiovisual industry. They have the sentiment that the Hollywood industry is benefiting from a specific American environment, relative environment, and therefore they want to say, as we are a minority language, we want to have still some protection against the American industry. That's one thing. Currently, the European Commission said, okay, we are going to accept the French concern, but frankly speaking, in the long run, we will be forced to integrate some aspects of the audiovisual industry within the negotiation. So, politically speaking, I would say the French government has a victory currently, but in the long run they will be forced to accept some negotiation and to accept a lower protection of their industry. The second industry which is going to be affected is indeed not only in France, but indeed it's affecting France more than Germany or Denmark, is the agriculture sector. France is the most beneficiary country from European subsidies within the agriculture. It's more benefiting of it than Spain and Italy, or even than the royal family in the UK. And we see how sensitive the subject is. Currently, within the European integration, there is a discussion, or it was even decided, that, for instance, export subsidized to chicken farmers in France, which are exporting frozen chicken outside of the European Union, are going to be stopped immediately. The impact is extremely severe. I mean, they are speaking currently in France about around 5,000 people who are going to lose their job immediately after the stop of the subsidies. So you see, agriculture industry is going to be a problem, but not only for France, actually, for the European Union, but also for American farmers. They are going to face global rules.
Okay, so overall, is it a good thing or is it a negative thing, this free trade deal?
I mean, it's a very positive thing. At first, it's a positive thing because political integration, which is within the European Union and also within the United States, is on a stand and by, on a neutral position. I mean, nothing is accelerating, nothing is developing, and this is going to accelerate things such as internal integration. Then moreover, it's going to accelerate the GDP growth. Studies were made and were speaking about accelerating GDP growth per annum around 0.4% for the USA and 0.5 to 0.6% for the European Union. Can you imagine in the current environment how important it is to have an excess GDP growth of 0.4, 0.5%? It's just huge. Moreover, politically speaking, it's a very convenient way of facing electors. You can say to the electors, all liberalizing activities or measures that were taken, which are maybe not socially friendly, are actually resulting from this trade agreement, and it's not our decision. We were maybe part of the negotiation, but we were forced to do it. And therefore, politically speaking, it's a very convenient way for the authorities to integrate this trade agreement.
Okay, so much positive aspects to it there. When can we expect to see a final date that this agreement comes into action?
That's an extremely good question. Frankly speaking, the President of the United States is extremely positive and thinks that probably an agreement can be found during the fiscal year 2014 and probably implemented in 2015. I would say probably we are going to see a free trade agreement in pieces, in slices. Means some aspects are going probably to be negotiated quickly in 2014 and to be implemented in 2015, but not a full free trade agreement.
Okay, Francois Nordhof, thank you so much for joining us today, and that's all we have time for now, but do check back later on today for further updates. Bye for now.